My stars, would you look at the stars? Hello, my darlings. I am so happy to see you again. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Watching the downfall of society isn't nearly as fun as I thought it would be. There's a lot more hatred and less living off the land and everybody having chickens than I had hoped for. I know a lot of you are angry, scared, and stressed out, possibly depressed, about what is happening here in the US and how it's going to impact the entire world, all because of unremarkable men who are grasping at their chance to be immortalized. But what have we learned from our past lessons on Hitler, Mussolini, Pol Pot, and the rest of the dictators? Karma will always seek her retribution. So take it from a chronically depressed queer millennial who has seen a thing or two. Use what talents, gifts, and tools that you have to help in any way you can. I live in the middle of Indiana. My town is predominantly Republican, Catholic, and white conservative people. So you can imagine my grinder is constantly blown up by photoless profiles of married men wanting me to meet them in the garage while their wife is at work. Ugh, but that's none of my business. Just kidding. I have screenshots in case any of them ever thinks about running for office in this town. Scandalous. Whatever the future holds, my darlings, do not let it lower your vibrations to remain in that anger and hatred. It does nothing but hurt you. And the more you let it stay there, the worse it's going to be. I'm not telling you to ignore it, just to acknowledge it and use your energy to turn it into something beneficial, something that can help. One good thing I have noticed that has come from all of this is that there is a sense of togetherness. With everything they have tried to do to divide us, we are joining together and helping hold each other up. This too shall pass. And if any of you ever fall into one of those damn doom spirals, feel free to DM me on Instagram at It's Rotten to the Core. I may not have all the answers, but I have a dark sense of humor and the entirety of the Golden Girls to draw wisdom from. In saying all of that, let's get into our lesson already. Today's episode is about a woman who used her wit, know-how, and poisons to get rid of some powerful men. Some call Locusta history's first recorded female serial killer. But I think of her more as a woman who used what resources she had in order to survive. Especially compared to other Romans, a little poison was a mercy, a lesson she sadly learned in the end. Boy, have I missed saying this. Magic mirror on the wall, who is the most rotten one of all? Hi, hello, and howdy, my darlings, and welcome to Rotten to the Core. It is I, the not-so-evil queen, Joshua Waters, and thank you for joining me today. Here at Rotten to the Core, we look into the lives and actions of some horrible people, and the things that they did. All using my magical mirror and a touch of humor, we bring their stories to life and try to find something beneficial from it. Now, Locusta was born in the 1st century AD, which makes me feel so young, being born from the 1900s. Oh. Since she wasn't that important when she was younger, no tea, no shade, not a lot is known about her childhood, family, or actual birthday. So that tells us she was the youngest child. I'm just guessing. We get like 2 photos of us as babies because our parents were tired by the time we came around. We can also assume that her later talents with herbs and potions were probably taught to her by a female figure, a mother, a grandma, an auntie. She had to learn it from somewhere. We know she wasn't born into wealth, and someone at least cared about her enough to make sure she had some protection. More is known about Locusta around the time she began gaining Emperor Claudius's attention. Not in a pervy way. I hope. He ruled right after Emperor Caligula. Check out Rotten episode 35. Learn all about her. At first, Locusta was arrested for her poisons and faced either slavery or death. But those in power realized that her skills were much too valuable to waste. Instead of getting punished, she was given the opportunity to change her life. She could either become a key player for the elite in Rome, who all had enemies they wanted to get rid of, discreetly. More specifically, future Emperor Nero, who ruled over Rome from 54 to 68 AD, which is a long-ass time for a Roman ruler. Hell, anything over 6 months was a win for them. The Romans were obsessed with killing for power, and the best way to get rid of your enemy and walk away scot-free was with poison. Someone gave a little poison, wouldn't me? You can see how a talented poisoness, like Locusta, was extremely sought after and dangerous. I'm also regretting not dressing up like Poison Ivy for this video. Missed opportunity and I hate myself. Once she started working for Nero, they came up with a plan to get rid of Emperor Claudius. According to historical accounts, Locusta's the one who provided the poison that helped kill Claudius and paved the way for Nero to take the throne. Now let's get into this planning because it is diabolically brilliant. They knew that Claudius loved mushrooms, and somehow, no one knows, they were able to get him poisoned mushrooms on the one night his food tasters weren't around. Claudius ate them and suddenly gets an intense pain in his stomach. That's when his wife, Empress Agrippina, who is Nero's mother, rushes over to help him. She gives him a feather to make him throw up, but the feather is laced with deadly nightshade. I've had that growing in my yard before, and you can tell by the name, it ain't a remedy. I did think it was odd to hand him a feather to vomit, but they were wealthy Romans, people known to induce vomiting just so they could eat more. They would know how to do it. Empress Agrippina actually betrayed Locusta and had her imprisoned for the murder of Claudius. Nero thought of her as too much of an asset, especially since he still had his 13-year-old stepbrother, Britannicus, what a name, the heir to the Roman throne to get rid of. Nero then worked with Locusta to concoct a poison for Britannicus, and in exchange, he would reward her greatly. It took Locusta 2 tries to murder Britannicus. The first time only made him sick, but the second time, when she used poisoned water in his wine, it finally took him out. And only 4 months after his dad had died. By helping murder Claudius and then Britannicus, Locusta essentially tied herself to Nero. And she was so valuable to him, in fact, that he gave her estates, wealth, and servants to help her in her studies of poisons. He even began sending students to her just so she could teach them. Locusta was now a wealthy woman who owned land and was teaching others all of her valuable knowledge. When I first thought of her new home and school, I pictured a gorgeous Roman villa. While it may have been that, there were also a lot of experiments on animals and slaves, most of whom died. The total number of people killed because of either Locusta or because of what she taught her students is unknown. But between the slaves they experimented on and the wealthy they were paid to murder, the number is believed to be in the thousands. Nero remained the emperor and protector of Locusta for a little over 10 years, which, again, is a good run for ancient Rome. But he was eventually sentenced to death in 68 AD, and he had a servant help him end his own life. Now, if I were Locusta, I would have had an escape, some money stashed away in a boat to take me far away from there at a moment's notice. At least, that's what I wish she did, because no matter how many people she poisoned, nobody deserves what she got. Emperor Galba, who took over after Nero, didn't see Locusta as valuable. He feared her for what she could do if she helped his enemies instead of him. So he sentenced her to death. And what he came up with for her death was something I had heard of in TV shows like Game of Thrones. I'm not going to say it flat out, but she died of dehydration, exhaustion, and internal bleeding after several days, with multiple men. There's even a myth about giraffe involvement, but I give that no bearing. The world's first known female serial killer was now dead, and in a manner that should never have even been allowed in the thoughts of humankind. I struggle with this one. On one hand, I see that she had to do what she could to survive at that time. Still is responsible for the deaths of thousands of people. Can you imagine, though? I don't even kill spiders. On purpose. And with that, let's cleanse ourselves and I'll let you be on your way till next week. What doesn't serve me has to go. I only keep what will help me grow. Lessons come and lessons go. From our rotten past, we now know. To all darkness, so say this queer. You have no power here. So be it. Thank you for supporting Rotten to the Core. Let's catch up again next time. And in the meantime, be happy, find peace, and don't hurt anyone. Let me know what you thought about today's episode and what lessons you would like to hear on my socials. Instagram's best, I check it most. If you enjoy Rotten to the Core, please follow me on Instagram or join me on Patreon. Both of those are at It's Rotten to the Core. My TikTok is at Rotten in History. Now listen, I am a millennial born in 1990, and I shied away from technology. I honestly thought it was going to be a fad, and I like to play outside a lot. So I have to make myself get on social media. I'm working on it. It takes 21 days to build a habit. I'm getting better at it, but I'm going to start checking it more, and we're going to be interacting. You can also listen to me on my other podcast, Mystery Inc., that I do with my brother Shane and our friend producer Kim, available wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button to keep up to date with our lessons and what extra fun goodies I'm going to be doing. It is my wish to create a space for everyone who needs it to come and find a sense of community. Life on this blue marble is difficult, but it doesn't have to be if we can help each other. I'm going to start adding some Get Ready With Me live so we can chit-chat as I turn into the not-so-evil queen you see and hear before you. I'm going to be doing some rotten Reddit readings of people we find on there that we can learn from or are just entertaining as hell. And I'm going to be bringing back Behind the Mirror on Patreon. There we can do some tarot and pendulum readings together, play games, practice makeup ideas and techniques, and have a few laughs. Let's turn our fears into joy. Here with me on Rotten. I'd love to have you. I just wish I could make you something to eat, honey. Everybody have a good week ahead of you, and I will talk at you next week. It was lovely spending time with you today. Have a fantastic night, my darlings. Bye.